it's Derekh Chamblee. It's still Wednesday, August 17th, 2016. Oh my. And Derekh Chamblee, Cybercitizen Network. We've been looking over the TBT, which is the Tampa Bay Times free newspaper. Essentially, there's a lot of advertisements in it and whatnot, and celebrity news and things like that. Today in history, a couple of interesting items. This day in history, 1945, George Orwell's novel, Animal Farm, an allegorical satire of Soviet communism, was published. This day in history, 1969, Hurricane Camille slammed into the Mississippi coast as a Category 5 storm that was blamed for 256 U.S. deaths. And of course, that gets us to think about the next storm that hits the Tampa Bay region, coming through the Sunshine Skyway area, that the entire Tampa Bay region would be affected, and there would be no time to get the vehicles on the road. And if you did have 1 million vehicles making their way across Central Florida and up north toward Jacksonville and on to Georgia and whatnot, up through Gainesville, Ocala, the Tallahassee area into Georgia, whatnot, that they'd be stranded on the roads. There wouldn't be enough time to get a million vehicles out of the peninsula of Florida. And this date in history, 1969, Hurricane Camille. And another date, 1996, the Reform Party announced Ross Perot had been selected to be who had been selected to be its first presidential nominee. That was 1992, opting for the third party's founder over challenger Richard Lamb. Okay, so they selected Ross Perot again to run in 1996 as the presidential nominee for the Reform Party. And arguably in 1992, Ross Perot's campaign cost George Herbert Walker Bush his re-election in certain crucial states. And but interestingly enough, in 1992, it was not this date in history, but a week from now, August 24th, 1992, Hurricane Andrew slammed into South Florida, south of the city of Miami, and arguably displaced many that would have voted for the Arkansas governor running for president, Bill Clinton, at that time, lost Florida in 1992, and arguably the heavy Democratic vote in South Florida, some of it was displaced by Hurricane Andrew. And then again in 2004, when George W. Bush was running for re-election, and Florida, the state of Florida, was hit by 4 hurricanes. Arguably, that hurt the Democratic vote. And that's what we're looking at here. In 2016, watch, beginning around September 10th, the Western Caribbean, approximately longitude 82, latitude 12 degrees, for a depression to form and meander along the Central America, over the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico, and emerge into the Gulf of Mexico and strengthen in that time of year. It may take 10 days for a storm to develop and come up the Central American, Central America, and then emerge into the Gulf of Mexico, which would give time for a proper evacuation of the Tampa Bay region and the west coast of Florida. However, the meteorologists will wait until 36 to 48 hours before the headwinds reach the Tampa Bay region to call an emergency evacuation. That's not enough time. That's not enough time to get the people out. Google Citizen Alert, Florida, the state of emergency. And we just passed over the Gandy Bridge, and early on, when the headwinds reach 50 miles an hour and the gusts, the Sunshine Skyway Bridge will be shut down. And then the Gandy and the Courtney Campbell bridges will be shut down, and sooner or later, the Howard Franklin Bridge will be shut down, leaving only 2 precious land routes out of Pinellas County. St. Petersburg, Clearwater, and whatnot. The main route out, Highway 19 north, State Highway, State Road, State Highway 19, and alternate 19 north into Pasco County, which it's squeezed. The Highway 19 and alternate 19 are squeezed by Lake Tarpon on the east and the Gulf of Mexico on the west. And they're actually, the sea level, the level is absolute evacuation. It won't take long for Highway 19 and alternate 19 to be closed. And that leaves only one other precious land route out of Pinellas County, the peninsula, Pinellas County, St. Petersburg, Clearwater, and whatnot. And that is through Oldsmar, down Tampa Road, connecting with Hillsborough Avenue, which runs northwest to southeast along the Rocky Point area of the city of Tampa, and in essence, in Hillsborough County, and in essence, it's in absolute evacuation zone. So really, it's not going to remain open that long. So in essence, when the emergency evacuation is called, basically the authorities are going to tell people that they cannot take their automobiles on the road. Another interesting article, short article in the TBT, Tampa Bay Times, and again, this is Derekh Chamblee with Cybercitizen Network. Google Tampa Bay Times, Entelinter, that's one word, Entelinter, Entelinter. Google Tampa Bay Times, Entelinter. Well, they've got a story about a former executive at Fox that is going to be advising Donald Trump prior to his September 23rd debate with Democratic candidate Hillary Clinton. Well, this former executive from Fox was also a consultant, according to the Tampa Bay Times, with the Richard Nixon campaign, the Ronald Reagan campaign, and a campaign of George Herbert Walker Bush. Well, so really, what is he going to coach Donald Trump to say about Hillary Clinton? Perhaps he's going to say, the American people want to know if their presidential candidate's a crook. Well, she's a crook, lock her up. Well, anyway, on the light side there, this is Derekh Chamblee for Cybercitizen Network. This is Donald Trump's path to victory. Tampa, St. Petersburg, Battleground Zero, the epicenter of the 2016 presidential election.